Iceland, known for its stunning beauty and being pretty expensive. It's no secret that Iceland is not the most affordable destination in the world. But what if I told you that you could experience all the magic of Iceland without spending a fortune? In this video, I'm talking about how to travel Iceland on a budget, including accommodation, tours, food, drink, and all of the things. Hey, my name is Jeannie and I've been exploring Iceland for the past 10 years. I've written guidebooks and itineraries that have over 500 five-star reviews, and my mission is to help you plan the best trip ever. Let's get into it. All right, let's talk about your first big expense, where you're going to sleep at night. There are a few different options to keep your costs down. First is you could stay at something like a hostel or a guest house. This is a great option for solo travelers or small groups. Hostels in Iceland are not like hostels in Europe. They're cleaner, more expensive, and very cozy. So the benefits of staying in a hostel is that you're gonna be saving money and you'll have a shared kitchen so that you can cook your own meals. Guest houses are probably one of my favorite ways to stay in Iceland. This is going to be more like a big home, for example, with a private room, but shared community spaces, like shared couches to hang out on and a shared kitchen as well. So this way, prices are gonna be cheaper than hotels, but just as comfortable. For this type of accommodation, you'd probably budget between $50 to $150 a night. Really depends on if you're getting like a shared accommodation in a hostel or if you're having more of a private room, private bathroom in a guest house. Another way to go is by renting an Airbnb or a local rental. These options are going to be much cheaper than staying in a hotel, but much more private than a hostel or a guest house. For this option, you're going to need to budget around $150 to $250 a night. Pro tip, very important, you need to book these accommodations as far in advance as possible, especially during peak travel times. It's the #1 area in tourism in Iceland that cannot keep up very well with the demand in the sheer number of travelers. So as it gets closer to that peak travel season, they do start bumping up the prices because they know that people will have to pay for them regardless. So do yourself a favor and make sure to book early. The last option is to camp. Camping is a great way to save a lot of money because this is where you're gonna get your cheapest accommodation. Iceland campsites are open year-round, weather permitting, but camping is a great way to see Iceland. I've done several videos on renting a camper van if you don't wanna rough it with a tent, so make sure to check out those videos for a lot more information. But in terms of budgeting, you're thinking about $5 or $10 per person per night. Okay, we need to talk about how to get around Iceland. My personal opinion, the best way to see Iceland is by renting a car and driving yourself. There is nothing better than a road trip in Iceland, nothing. Renting a car gives you the flexibility and freedom to go wherever you want. You can explore all the remote areas at your own pace, and it gives you complete freedom to stop whenever you want. One way that you can save on rental costs in this area is to get a smaller economy car. I don't recommend doing this for winter travel, but if you're traveling in the summer and you're not planning on traveling into the Highlands or the F-roads, if you just get a small economy car and just cram in as much as possible, that will be your most budget option for renting your own vehicle. If you're looking to do public transportation, just know that this is not the easiest way to get around Iceland, but it is possible. If you're thinking about staying in Reykjavik and you're just wanting to kind of explore around the city, then you're gonna wanna hop on the public transportation bus, which is called Strætó. And this is really your great option for short distances around the city. If you want to travel out into the countryside or do some day trips, then there are bus companies that do like a day trip around the Golden Circle, or even kind of like a hop on and hop off tour around the ring road even. This is just going to require a lot more planning in terms of like knowing bus schedules, but there are companies that will drop you off in Selfoss and drop you off in Vík. Just know that this is a much slower option for traveling, and it's also less convenient for exploring those more remote areas or getting to the hidden gems. Another great way to save on transportation is carpooling. There is a carpooling in Iceland website if you're wanting to hook up with other travelers that are kind of traveling around and trying to ride share, or just by traveling with a group of people is going to be a great way to split your travel costs, like a vehicle rental or fuel. Speaking of saving money, if you're renting a vehicle in Iceland, I have arranged a VIP discount for you. The company I recommend is Blue Car. It's a local business with great customer service, and insurance is already included in their prices. Grab my discount by clicking the link in the description below. Moving on to food and beverage. If you're not careful, this can take up a big majority of your budget. But don't worry, with a little bit of planning and some pro tips, you can keep your meals affordable. First thing I recommend is to cook your own meals, especially if you're staying at a place we just talked about before, like a hostel or an Airbnb, and you can shop at a grocery store, bring it back at the end of the evening and cook your own meals. This is definitely going to be your most budget option. An average meal in a restaurant, and I'm talking any restaurant, is going to be between $20 to $50, but your average price for a home-cooked meal would be around $5 to $10. So huge money-saving opportunity here. Another thing to consider is eating at like a budget-friendly cafe slash gas station. It feels silly saying this, but hear me out. First of all, the local bakeries are so good. They don't just make sweets. A lot of times you can find pizza or sandwiches that are really affordable, so you can just kind of grab that and head out on the road. Another thing to look out for is a soup buffet, because a lot of times they'll allow a refill and have unlimited bread. And don't discount the Icelandic hot dog at a gas station for about $5 each. I know a lot of people use this as a way to stay really under budget while traveling around Iceland, because you can't beat it. And they're actually good. Another tip for avoiding costs in food and drink category is to not buy alcohol while you're at a restaurant. Now, I get it. It's really, really fun to sit at this beautiful, cozy cafe and have a beer or a glass of wine, but those prices are very, very jacked up. So what you could do instead is wait until you get back to your hotel or accommodation for the evening and crack open the duty-free that you had grabbed at the airport and enjoy your adult beverage there. Moving on to activities to save money in Iceland. The good thing about this beautiful country is that there are so many free things to do, free things to see. So you don't have to take a tour or pay someone to bring you to a place in order to see the most fantastic sights. So the first thing we can consider doing is hiking. There are so many hiking trails in Iceland. A lot of them are well known, like hiking up to Reykjadalur or hiking to waterfalls. I have an entire hiking in Iceland playlist. Definitely start there to check out some of those videos for inspiration on where to go and what to do. But hiking is a great way to kind of explore the wilderness for free. Another activity that you can do is get into those hot springs or geothermal pools. And I know what you're thinking, the Blue Lagoon is the most expensive thing in Iceland, but there are definitely budget spa alternatives. For example, the Secret Lagoon. Does it have the blue water and the white mask? No, but it is an experience that is definitely more affordable than the Blue Lagoon. Another thing to do that is severely underrated, which is visit the local geothermal pools. And if you have little ones, a lot of times there's a mini splash pad or water slides, the perfect little activity at a fraction of the price. You can still get in your hot water fix and you don't have to pay those high spa prices. If you do want to take a tour, I have a couple of great options to save money. First of all, the food walk is where you can sample Iceland's most delicious cuisine with the highest rated food tour in Reykjavik. You can use my code Iceland with a View to get 10% off. This is such a great way to sample Iceland's delicious cuisine. Or there is actually a free city walk tour that you can book with a guide to walk around Reykjavik. They'll point out all the important buildings and give you some Icelandic culture lessons. See? Lots of things to do on a budget. Now that you know how to travel to Iceland on a budget, we need to talk about the best activities and tours to book on your trip. In the next video, I'm going to give you the inside scoop on the best tours and how to book them without breaking the bank. I'll see you in the next video, but until then, happy planning.